Peter, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Hi, Anita. Thanks, you too.
So tell me, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. I was looking forward to coming in today.
Can you explain to me what okay means?
I had some good days and bad this week. I am looking forward to talking it through, maybe clearing some things up.
Okay, well, let's make an agenda for this session. How about we touch on how the week went, and then we'll review the homework before we continue on automatic thoughts. We'll end the session with summarizing it and eliciting feedback for how you felt this session went. How does that sound to you?
That works for me.
Okay, good. How are you feeling this past week? Did you have any thoughts of harming yourself?
No.
That's good to hear. I'm sure by now, you know at the beginning of each session, I like to hear what you scored your past week as on the Beck inventory scale. What did you rate this past week on a scale of 0 to 10?
I said that I was a 7. There were times when I felt really down this week, but I don't think I felt depressed the entire week. It was an okay week.
That sounds like it was a better week for you. Your rate on the Beck Depression Inventory Scale is lower than it was last week. Last week you rated yourself as an 8. Do you agree that this week was better?
I guess so.
That's good, Peter. Is there anything specific that you would like to talk about from the week?
Not really.
Okay. How did the homework go? Have you been writing in your journal?
Yes. I decided to switch the time when I write. Instead of writing before dinner, I write before bed. I think it helps me to organize my day. When I have a bad day, writing it out helps to clear my head. On really bad days, I can read entries of the good days. That helps me to feel better too.
That sounds really good, Peter. I'd like you to continue writing in your journal, especially because you agree that it's helping.
I can do that.
So did you speak to any friends or family during this past week? At the end of last session, we decided that you would try to contact one individual between each session.
Yes, I texted my cousin. I didn't want to have a long conversation with him, but I thought it was okay that we had a few extra texts back and forth.
That's good. Why did you guys stop texting?
I just didn't want to reply. He asked me how therapy was going and felt like too much to get into.
I'm very proud of you for reaching out to your cousin. I think that's a wonderful step.
Thanks.
I know you've been nervous about missing so much work. Last session, you said some coworkers were reaching out to you and you received a card from one of your coworkers. You say that you were nervous that you may hear from your boss. Did she try to contact you this past week?
Well, I got an email from her. I couldn't read it through. I just got so upset. I wish I didn't even log into my email account. It just ruined the rest of my day. I just kept thinking that I shouldn't ever go back to work and that I'm not good enough for my position.
Peter, I'm so sorry you went through that. I understand how difficult it must be for you to be missing work. I'd like to try something with you, and I think that this is a perfect example. We spent the past few sessions learning about automatic thoughts and how to identify them. Do you remember that?
Yes. I remember you telling me that an automatic thought is like an image that pops into my head immediately after something happens.
Wonderful, Peter. Now, why is it important for us to focus on your automatic thoughts?
Because mine make me sad and depressed.
So if we changed the way you were to think about things, do you think that you would feel less sad?
I think so. But is that going to change me instead of changing the bad things that happen to me? I don't understand how this is connected with my boss emailing me and making me feel like a bad employee.
I'm sorry I'm not explaining this in a way that you may understand. Peter, it is not going to be changing you. It's going to be changing the way you think about a situation so that you're not feeling sad. We can't change the situation or an event that happens to us, but we can change how we react to it. And hopefully, this will help you to feel less upset.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember about automatic thoughts. It makes sense. Instead of me getting upset at my email and how I suck, I think I should think something else.
Peter, I'm sorry that you feel that way. When you thought, I suck, what was that an example of?
I guess it's an automatic thought.
Exactly. Can you tell me why?
That's the first thing that popped into my head when my boss emailed me. I didn't think it would be a good email, so I started to think of all the reasons I'm not at work.
So, the basic idea of changing an automatic thought would be that when you think, I suck, we're going to try to change it into something more positive that won't leave you upset for the rest of the day.
How are we going to do that?
Well, as I said, I'd like to try something with you. It's called a thought sheet. Would you like to try it?
Okay, what is it?
The thought sheet is to help you identify your automatic thoughts based off of a situation while becoming aware of the feeling that occurred due to that automatic thought. The end goal is to help change the way you think of that situation, just as we've been discussing. We do this because we can't change situations or events, but we can change how we react to it. Does that give you a good understanding of what a thought sheet is?
Yes. What will we be doing? I may need help.
Well, that's why we're going to start it together in session.
Okay.
So a thought sheet is split up into 5 different sections, and we're going to fill out each column based off of a specific situation. For example, if someone was being rude to you and you were upset by that, someone being rude to you would have been the situation.
Alright, so I just have to know what makes me sad.
Exactly. So it's too difficult to go over every different automatic thought that you may have during the day. So when you notice that your mood is getting really down or that you're really upset, I want you to stop and think to yourself, what is going on right now that is making me so sad? And write it down on your thought sheet. This will help us to figure out a little bit more about your automatic thoughts.
Okay.
Alright, so can we fill this out together?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Is it okay with you if we use the example of your boss emailing you?
Yes, I would like to know a better way to handle that situation. It just made me so upset.
Okay, so let's take a look at this thought sheet. I would like you to do the writing so it helps you to learn how to do it.
Okay.
So what is our situation?
Getting an email from my boss.
Wonderful. You can go ahead and write that down on the thought sheet.
Okay, how detailed does the situation have to be? I mean, what I put down says, saw an email from my boss.
That's good. It can be as detailed as you would like it to be. If you think that is sufficient enough information, then you can leave it at that. As long as you can look back on this and remember what situation we're talking about.
Okay, I think that's enough.
Okay, go ahead and write that. Saw an email from my boss. Alright, good. Can you remember when you looked at your email? This is for the very first column. It may also help you to pinpoint the situation in the future when you're looking back.
I think it was Wednesday.
Okay, so midweek. You'll just want to write that down under the first column.
I would like to put a time down too.
That sounds terrific.
It was early in the evening.
Okay. All right. Now, do you remember where you were when you saw the email from your boss?
Well, I decided to get out my laptop, and it has been such a long time since I even looked at it. I brought it over to my couch in the living room.
Okay. So you felt fairly comfortable with your location.
Yes.
Was anyone with you while you were looking through your email?
No, I was alone.
Okay. Now, Peter, this is the part of the thought sheet that might take a little bit more time. We're going to really aim to understand the situation and the automatic thought that you had. Before you write anything down on the thought sheet, I'd like to discuss it first. This way, we can decide together what you're going to put down and in what column.
Okay.
Now, when you received an email from your boss, what was your first thought?
I thought that she was going to yell at me. I figured something was wrong. I was afraid to open it.
Okay, good, Peter. I'd like you to write that out on the thought column. You can write, I thought she was going to yell at me.
I thought that if she was taking the time to email me, then I must be in trouble. Then I started to wonder if I was fired. I was nervous. Then I just became so sad and down because I knew that I haven't been to work. It just didn't feel good.
Okay. Go ahead and write, Peter. She was going to yell at me. So immediately you thought you were in trouble, questioned if you were fired, that she would yell at you, and that something was wrong.
Yes, I'm very worried about what she thinks of all of this.
All right, let's write those down on the thought column. This column.
I did.
You need to write down the other three. That you were going to get fired.
Okay, I wrote those down.
Okay. All right. So in that same statement, you said that you felt fear, nervousness, worry, and sadness.
Yes, I was extremely worried that I would be fired. I was so scared.
Peter, do you understand why I split up your thought versus your feeling?
Aren't they the same?
No. For example, you thought that you were being yelled at, so you felt scared to open the email.
So because I thought I might get fired, I felt scared?
Perfectly put, Peter. You can think an emotion. You can think and feel an emotion. This is something that you feel. So why don't you write down the emotions at the situation? You said fear. Nervousness. Worry.
Okay.
I'd like to go through each thought and emotion and rate it. This rate will be on a scale of 0 to 100. So when you tell me a number, I'd like it to represent how strongly you felt that thought or feeling to be true in that moment.
Okay.
So you can just write it right next to each thought. So how strongly did you feel that you were in trouble?
95.
Okay. How strongly did you feel that you were fired?
87.
How about getting yelled at?
95.
And that something was wrong.
About 90.
Okay. So all of those ratings are pretty high. How are you feeling now?
I still think all of these to be true.
Do you feel as strongly about all of these categories? I'd like you to go through and rate them for how strongly you believe them to be true right now.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be fired, at least. I wouldn't rate it at 87% anymore. I may put it at 35%.
Okay, and how about all the other thoughts?
Well, I think I could be in trouble or something is wrong. I would say those are in the high 70s.
Okay, go ahead and write that down next to the original rate.
Okay.
There are significant differences to your ratings from when the situation occurred to now. Why do you think that these ratings lowered?
Well, I am no longer in that moment. I don't feel as panicky as I was thinking about opening those emails.
Were there a lot of other emails?
I had a good amount from coworkers. I only looked into my work email, and really, they all have my work-related emails forwarded to another employees until I get back.
So there may be emails of acquaintances or friends checking in on you.
I guess so. They may not be bad at all.
Let's rate your emotions that you felt in this situation. Again, rate your emotions on a scale of 0 to 100, and remember to try to think back to when you were originally in that moment. How strongly did you feel the emotion fear?
100.
Nervousness.
95.
How about worry?
95.
Sadness or feeling down?
100.
Those again are very high ratings. You felt very strongly about these emotions when you saw her email. How are you feeling about the email now? Are you still fearful, nervous, worried, or sad?
Yes. However, I don't think it as strong. I'm scared that I might be in trouble, but that feeling is down to probably 40. Same with nervousness. I would rate my worry at 50, though. I just keep thinking about it.
So this is still a very strong issue for you.
Yes, it is. I just can't stop thinking about it.
Well, that can happen when you sit there and think about the same situation that made you upset. Sometimes it can even get worse. How would you rate your sadness?
I am still sad about that. I may leave that one the same. I just don't know what. I just don't want to let her down. I felt worse that night. I mean, I opened my email and saw my boss's name. I just froze. I probably looked at the screen for 5 minutes before even shutting my laptop. Then the rest of the night, my emotions kept getting worse. I even woke up the next morning and thought about it.
So if you were to rate how you were feeling the next day, would it be higher?
Oh, yes. I would say 100 for everything. I was just so down and sad about the whole situation. I kept thinking that she wouldn't be emailing me if I was able to go to work. And then I just kept thinking that I'm a loser.
It sounds like all of these thoughts led you to becoming very sad. Do you think that feeling sad or depressed about the situation led you to thinking worse things?
I don't think that I started to think about anything work. I just started thinking that in most areas of my life, I am failing. I'm still feeling depressed about it. I was just so upset and thinking about all the other stuff that's going wrong with me right now. My mood kept getting worse and worse.
How was your week before you looked at your email?
Well, my week was up and down. Before I opened my email, I was okay. That's actually why I decided to open my email account. I thought that since I was in a decent mood, I should try to get some emails out of the way. I hadn't even opened my email for 2 months. I thought I could handle it.
Well, let's review what we've written so far. So the situation was logging into your email account and seeing a new email from your boss. You started to think that you were in trouble. You're going to be yelled at, that you're going to be fired, and that something was wrong. These thoughts led you to feel scared, nervous, worried, and sad. Do you think that that's a good sum of the event for you? So looking at this sheet, do you see how all of these thoughts were just constantly circling in your head for the rest of the night? That potentially made you more upset.
Yeah, I still don't feel very good. Thinking back on that situation in so much detail is hard. I am starting to feel really sad again.
Okay, so these kinds of thoughts really add on to you already feeling depressed. Doing this type of thought analysis to identify your thoughts can leave you really upset. This is because it forces us to pinpoint what is specifically making you upset in a given situation. So really, what we were doing was identifying the thought and analyzing it. Now I'd like to focus on one of your automatic thoughts in this situation, the one that seemed to have the biggest impact on you.
Okay.
So if you were to pick one of these thoughts to focus on, which one would it be?
Well, I would like to pick either that I was getting yelled at or that I was in trouble.
So between these two thoughts, which one were you thinking about most through the rest of the evening? So another way to put it, which of these thoughts was the most emotional for you?
I would say getting yelled at. In most situations, I think I worry about getting yelled at. I mean, I have heard it from my cousin about the fact that maybe I don't come here enough or that I'm not trying hard enough in therapy. I also worry about the fact that my wife yells at me about our marriage all the time. It stands out the most. I just don't think I do anything right if I'm constantly being yelled at.
So you would say that this is evidence to the possibility that you were getting yelled at. You witness it with your wife and your cousin.
Yes, it makes me feel so bad because I want to do things right.
So in relation to your boss emailing you to yell at you, what is the worst thing that might have happened?
I don't think I would be getting fired. I think it would be that I was getting in trouble. The two thoughts kind of go hand in hand for me. It's just so common that I would get yelled at. I think that I'm always getting yelled at. It seems that when I am feeling really upset, people just like to pile it on.
So if you were to get in trouble at work, what is the worst thing that would happen?
I would feel bad. I wouldn't know if I was doing my job correctly and my boss regrets offering me a promotion. What if her yelling at me meant that she didn't like me? I just can't handle something else going wrong right now.
So it looks like you have a lot of thoughts about what being yelled at could mean. It could mean your boss doesn't like you and that she regrets promoting you.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're doing well at your new position?
I thought that I was. I really enjoy my work. I think I worked really hard to get this promotion. I have a good relationship with the people that I manage and all of my coworkers.
It sounds like you deserve this promotion because you worked so hard and you've made sure that you formed good relationships with the people around you.
I haven't talked to anyone for a long time. I don't know if they still think I'm a good worker.
If your boss regretted promoting you, how would you handle that?
I wouldn't feel very good about it. I think I would continue to avoid responding to her email and take a longer time in getting back to work.
Well, is there any evidence that this may be true?
What do you mean? Like she has yelled at me before?
Yes.
No, she hasn't yelled at me before. We have a pretty good relationship. She is very understanding and always around to talk to at work.
So what are the chances that she's emailing you to yell at you?
Not very high. I guess I don't think that she would do that.
So what could be the best possible outcome of your boss emailing you?
I guess that she shows she cares. Maybe letting me know that it's okay I'm taking some time from work and that my job will be there when I get back.
So how does that scenario make you feel?
A lot better. I actually think it is more likely.
So just to solidify that reasoning, what is the evidence that she could be emailing you to check in?
Well, at work she always asks me how I'm doing and that if I need someone to talk to, her door is always open. Really, it isn't that out of character. She has emailed me in the past to check in.
Why don't you write for Under Truth, your wife and your cousin? Because you said that they yell at you. And under Not True, you can write that your boss doesn't yell at you. because you said you guys have a good relationship. Okay, so that thought seems to be more realistic to you, the fact that it's not out of character for her to talk to you.
Yes. Realistically, she probably is just sending me an email to let me know that things are okay with work. Before I left, she told me not to worry about work, that she would take care of things until I was feeling better.
So your automatic thought in receiving an email from your boss was that you were getting yelled at. In fact, you said you felt this to be true by 95%. We have now looked through the evidence behind this thought. You stated yourself that your boss has not yelled at you before. In fact, the evidence shows that she might be emailing you to check in on you. How would you rate this evidence?
I would say I believe this is 90%.
So you believe that she may be emailing you just to check in on you by 90%. Now thinking that, would you rate the thought that she's emailing you to yell at you?
Now, I would say about 45%. It seems more likely that she is emailing me to check in.
So what do you want to do about this email?
I guess I should open it. I don't want her to think that I'm avoiding her.
I think that that would be a good option. So thinking about reading this email, how does it make you feel?
I still feel nervous and worried about it, but I don't believe so strongly that I'm going to get yelled at anymore.
Okay, so why don't we assign this as homework?
I think that's a good idea.
It may take you a few times to successfully open and read through the email, but do you think that you'd be able to read it this week?
Yes.
Okay, Peter. I'd also like you to try to do your own thought sheet this week. It was clear today that once we started to pick apart your automatic thought, you started to feel better about the situation. Would you be able to do a thought sheet on one situation that may make you upset this week?
I think that it would be a good way for me to remember how I feel so we can talk about it next week.
So let's start this slowly. I'd like you to just identify the situation and the automatic thought for now, and then we'll complete the rest of it in session together.
All right.
So the purpose of this homework assignment is to help you identify your automatic thought. This will help us to get a better understanding of your automatic thoughts.
I can do that.
So it's almost the end of the session. Why don't you summarize today's session for me?
Well, we went through my homework. Then you asked me how my week went, and I told you about my boss. This kind of led into a session and my thought process.
Right, so what did we do throughout session today?
We filled out a thought sheet based on my boss emailing me. The thought sheet was a good idea. We decided that this would be homework for next week.
That's a good summary. Is there anything else that you can think of we went through today?
That sounds about it.
All right, Peter. How about feedback? What did you